What's up, everybody? Welcome to our Live at 5 Monday question and answer live stream. So if you guys have any questions, get those ready and we'll ask them as we go. Tonight is going to be a normal long one. I know last week we had a little bit of a shorter one because I had to get home to take care of the dogs. But tonight we're going to be here till 6. So if you guys have questions, go ahead and get those coming in.
I was just making sure your mic was on.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Sorry for being a little late.
Yeah, we always seem to have internet issues right at 5 o'clock on Mondays. Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
It's the Russians.
Yeah.
Anything new with the race car?
Nope, I got the intake coming, so I ordered that last week, so it should be here Wednesday, and then I have to machine a top plate for it so we can put the 2 4-barrels on it, and then I got to get the 2 carburetors. So we're going to run 2 Holley 390, I think it's a 4550, it's 390 CFM, so we're going to run those.
What do you have on it right now?
3 Strombergs. I don't know what the CFMs are on those, but the 2 4s being with a common plenum carburetor really help the airflow. With all equal length runners, that'll help out a lot too. So hopefully we'll get that on there in the next few weeks and see how that goes. But yeah, finally put out, I don't have much of a real showroom or storefront, but I rearranged some stuff this morning, and I've been waiting to put like hats and stuff out because I didn't have the office completely sealed from out in the workshop. So I had I think we talked about it, had a little wall put up, and then foam spacers put in above the wall to keep all the dust out. So finally started putting some more stuff out. So we got all our hats out, socks are out, and got more posters out. I just need to make description tags and price tags for them. So something I've been wanting to do. Spent a little time this morning doing that. Yeah, so just trying to keep the showroom a little bit nicer. Then I just get to find a place to put all our extra shirts and stuff that don't fit in the racks. Yeah, I mean, that's about all that's new in the office. Any questions yet?
No.
Nope.
No questions.
Last week was a bit of a weird week with me only being able to be here till 5, and then, what was it? I had a bunch of frame rails I had to get bent, so those are back there ready to ship out. I had a 35-36 roof insert that I had to do. Let's go through the list. So these were all the things I had to get done last week, as well as work on the taillights. So I got the golden rule doors done and shipped, IndyCar rails done and shipped, 35-36 roof insert done. It's strapped to a skid ready to go out. Shipped these frame rails. These the Hell's Gate Hot Rods rails are all bent up, ready to palletize and ship. I had to do some scope mounts for a local customer. Those are done. Maston rails are done and shipped. They did 2 aluminum roof inserts for 33-34. And this morning I did a 32 sedan door, which I think, Dom, you did. I don't know if it's going to be a short video or a medium length.
It's a short video.
Okay. Yeah, of putting the body line detail in that. And I put up a reel this morning of actually shaping the door skin. So it's here. I just got to finish boxing it up in the morning, and it'll go out to New Jersey.
Yeah, the video should be posted in shorts called Using the Linux or something like that.
Nice. Yeah, so then here's one of the spare 33-34 aluminum roof inserts. If anybody needs one, I got one in stock ready to ship. And today I got our other Bailey kick shrinker that I ordered a while back. So it showed up today, got it all bolted to the floor. So now I'm going to leave one designated shrink and one designated stretch. That way I don't have to change the tooling out. It's funny because these are quick change machines. So it doesn't take long to change the tooling, but if you're having to switch back and forth a lot, it gets kind of irritating. But when you switch the tooling out, they're just held in with magnets. So you can take them out, flip them around, and do the opposite. But if you're doing that quite a bit, it gets a little irritating. So I've been wanting to get a second machine for a long time, and finally got around to ordering it a while back, and it showed up today. Yeah, I think when you took the class I was talking about, getting one, and it finally happened.
Yeah, I thought you were just going to use that, but
Yeah, you can never have enough tools.
no.
Until I start running out of room, which is kind of already happening. Yeah.
You still got a roof.
Yeah. Yeah, and then last week we talked about finishing up the Mack truck fenders. So that one's sitting there waiting. Hopefully in the next couple weeks I will be making the buck for the other fender, and we can knock that second fender out and get it out the door. And
we have a video on this.
yeah, show of hands who watched the video last week. I'm making the bucket. Yeah,
I watched it.
Yeah.
I made it. So.
Yeah. Yeah, so we made, this is the first taillight bucket for the convertible, where we used the hammer form I made, and here's the start of the second one. So our little...
Dennis raised his hand. All right, we got two things. I would love to see Dom do some metal work and Mike on his shoulder teacher.
Yeah.
And a video.
Yeah, so there's our little bucket. I'm gonna have the client come over and see if he wants it recessed more than that. If he does, I'll just cut these tacks loose and add a filler strip. But have to see which way it looks the best in the car. But right now it's kind of recessed on one end and flush on the other.
You said that was French.
Frenched.
Yeah. That's what it's called when it's...
Yeah, well, when you recess it in like that, it's called Frenching. I just call it recessed.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got a couple people raise their hand.
Nice. Yeah, well, I appreciate you watching it. Hopefully it was insightful. So.
Do you use a spot welder for joining panels?
Nope, I don't use a spot welder. I don't have one. If I need to like duplicate a spot weld, I'll just drill a hole in one side and I'll rosette weld it, and then grind it down.
We have another one. Hi, Mike and Dom. Question for Mike. Do you have any new goals for the business-wise now? You have a successful shop and learn tricks of the trade or personal life if you want to share?
No, I don't really have any goals. I don't want to get any bigger. I don't want to be famous. I don't want to be rich. I just want to build cool stuff. That's pretty much all I've ever wanted to do. There was a time where I wanted to have, the dream shop that everybody talks about, having 10 employees and building the biggest and baddest out there and going to all the shows and doing all this stuff. And I got a little bit of a taste of that and I didn't like it. So I started downsizing. So I'm going to keep obviously I'll keep the facility because, there's no need to sell my building just because I don't want to have 10 employees and pursue all that. I just want to build cool stuff that I like. I'd like to get more into building race car type stuff. But yeah, no real goals, just keep at it. And I've got pretty much all the equipment I want for the most part. I've got most of the cars I want for the most part. So yeah, just keep building cool stuff till I can't do it anymore and then retire. Yep, and then these are the Hell's Gates hot rod rails that I bent last week. So they're all 2x4 3/16. Just got to wipe them down and get them strapped to a pallet and they can go out the door. And then I bent 8 sets of frame rails. So I can't get into a whole lot of detail, but we will show you. They came with this really cool fixture. And like a lot of people ask about repeatability. So I bent a test set maybe a month or so ago off of scraps that I had. And the client came in with the test fixture and they fit right into the test fixture. We didn't have to really modify anything. So just off of our blueprint, they were spot on. And then we bent another 8 sets off of new material and they also fit the fixture. So just to answer some repeatability questions, multiple sets over a month span, different mill runs, and everything fit in the fixture as it should.
Didn't you say, I don't know if it was these guys, but maybe it was someone else that you made these rails and they were the closest that...
Yeah, they had another company try to make them and they couldn't get within a ½ inch. And they tried for a year. They said they went through 127 full-length sticks and not one of them were usable. So they hit me up and I did an initial test bend and they fit the fixture first time out. So they were really happy. So we're going to do some more production parts for them. And they said I can show some videos of snapping the components into the fixture. We just can't really say what they are. So I thought that was really cool that we can show some of the repeatability and how they go in the fixture. And this is a really detailed fixture. It has a the rails have easy way and hard way on the same rail. So this is the hard way check and this is the easy way check. So it's really cool to be able to snap them in and check and verify that they're correct.
Yeah, this looks really nice.
Yeah, so hopefully, if I get the go ahead, I'll bend some maybe next week, and we can do like a quick short showing it coming out of the machine and snapping into place. So that was a really cool one. They were really pumped that I was able to kind of get them out of a pinch, and hopefully we don't lose service back here.
Connect to my phone. We should.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, the weather was really nice yesterday, so I took the GT out for 100 miles.
there you go.
Yep.
Didn't even have me with you.
Yeah.
Welcome back, guys. What would you recommend a total rookie learn shaping basics with hand tools?
I mean, you kind of answered your own question. So basic hand tools, start with hammer and dolly. Just learn how to shrink and stretch by hand. I mean, that's going to be the most important thing. And all you need is a hammer and a dolly for that. You don't need any special equipment other than that.
Yeah, just, I don't know, mess around.
Yeah,
Try to make stuff.
Yeah, and just see how the metal reacts. I mean, don't be afraid to screw stuff up. You know, I didn't have a formal education in metal shaping. I had a hammer, a dolly, a bench vise, and I just screwed up a bunch of stuff and figured out how the metal was reacting to what I was doing. And I didn't know the right terms, but I knew how to get it to do what I needed it to do.
I need to widen my rear fenders on my 53 Chevy 3100. Should I use a donor fender or a strip of metal?
Inner fender or outer fender. Like if you're just widening the wheel well, either way would be fine. You know, if you want that factory look, you just trim one long and the other one long and move it over. But if you add a strip of metal, you're just going to have two weld seams that you have to correct. Yeah. What else you got?
Does anyone make an electric or pneumatic kick stretcher? Pipe pneumatic.
Yeah. They make pneumatic and they make, I mean, the Urco.
Yeah,
I mean, that's an electric.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, they do make them. They tend to be more expensive. Like an Urco or like an Ecold, but those really go up in price. You know, it's a few $1,000s for a small kick shrinker versus tens of thousands of dollars for a big hydraulic or a big electric.
Also, what would be the positives and the negatives of electric versus?
Electric, you don't feel the connection. So like with the Urco, it's got that big flywheel on it, and it just ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk. It chews the metal right through it. You can't feel it. If you have a hand shrinker or a kick shrinker, as you're pushing that, you can feel the metal moving. So you have a finer feel for what's happening, and you can kind of creep up on the shape. If you have an electric one, like the Urco, and you have it set a little bit too tight, you could ruin a panel really quickly.
Do you prefer having pneumatic?
I don't really like the pneumatic ones because it's the same thing. You can't really feel it. I'd rather have, like I like the kick shrinker for fine, dainty stuff that I have to have a feel for, or the electric one just to knock out some shape real quick.
Okay. People from Australia is in here?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep, and I should have wrote the dates down. If you're in Australia and you haven't signed up, reach out to Motor Retro in Sydney. We are doing a class in October. So I'll be over in Australia. I'll be on the East Coast in Sydney, and I'm also planning to try to hit up the West Coast. Planning on being there for about 3 weeks. So yeah, hit up Motor Retro if you want to have a class in Sydney, or if you want to try to meet up when I'm closer, I'll be over by Perth. Hit me up, maybe we can grab lunch or something like that. So yeah, so appreciate everybody from Australia and that area checking out the channel.
Have you seen Wolf Ridge or something of the horror movie?
Mm-mm.
No. Oh.
No.
Is that where you hide the bodies?
What?
I don't know where, but George said, is that where you hide the bodies?
Sure, why not?
Yep.
And I got a little bit done on the race car, not a lot. Got our dry sump tank, figured out where I wanted to put it. It mounted, started putting bulkheads in for the water, oil drain for the turbo. Made our little outriggers here that bolt to the engine and support the intercooler bracket. I got the throttle pedal put in on the other side, and I didn't like how I had the brake pedal mounted. Put the pedal pad a little low.
You're gonna be running wire, not not electric, but
it's gonna be cable. Yeah. Yeah, so like I came in and I added this little box to raise the brake pedal up. I like it a lot better. Again, started running brake bulkhead, and then this is our remote oil filter. So I figured out kind of where I wanted to put it, best location. And then I think I'm going to mount the fuel pump, the electric Aeromotive A1000. I want to mount it here, so I started designing a bracket for that. And here's our throttle pedal. I made all the bracketry and bolt that up, and I just got a spring there so I could send it and make sure I could reach everything all right.
What CC injectors and like fuel pump are you going to use?
The pump is going to be a brushless A1000, and what is the injector? So the new racing intake I've got coming, it takes 12 injectors, and I don't know. We're running 1750 XDS Cobalt SS. There's the part number. So those are just for 4 of the injector dynamics injectors. So those will be the main ones that go into the block, and then we will have 8 secondary injectors in the intake. So I don't know if we're going to run all the injectors this season, or if we're just going to test and tune with 4, and then have the provisions for the other 8.
Mm-hmm. So make sure that you have enough fuel though, because otherwise you mess stuff up.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to do like density calculations and how much fuel we're gonna use by weight on a 5-mile run, and make sure I've got enough, because that's only a 4-gallon tank. But when I designed the mount, I don't know if you can see in there, I left the center open so I can make a drop sump and probably add a couple more gallons to the bottom of that. If not, I'll just add a secondary fuel tank somewhere, and it kind of, the round tank bleeds into the secondary tank, and they all pull. So I just kind of have to figure out, still doing the math on how much fuel we're going to use, and kind of make the decision from there. Any other questions yet?
Let's see. I'm near Adelaide, which is in between Sydney and Perth. Are you heading to Bennett Customs when you go to Australia?
Not as of yet. I haven't talked to him. There's another guy that's, I can't remember what he said, if he's north of Perth or south of Perth, but he wants me to come over and spend a couple days in his shop. So I don't know if we're doing classes there or if he just needs a hand. But the plan is to go to his shop and help him out with what he needs, and maybe spend a couple extra days just in that area checking it out. So it'll be my first time to Australia, so I'm hoping to get a good chance to look around and kind of experience the country.
If you don't want to invest in a shrinker machine, learn to tuck shrink with a hammer and dolly, or do it like Bad Chad and pie cut everything and call it shrinking.
Yeah, well, the problem is you run into areas that, yeah, you could tuck shrink it, but it's not going to be efficient. And with the cost of a shrinker stretcher anymore is minimal. You go to Harbor Freight, you can pick up a shrinker stretcher set for a couple $100. Like, to me, that's worth it. It's not going to be the best, but mainly I use kick shrinkers and stretchers just for edge work anyway. I'm not shrinking in the middle of a panel unless it's just a super, super tight spot.
That's the only time I've seen you use it. Is on an edge.
Yeah. So I mean, you don't have to invest in big giant equipment, but you spend a couple $100 on a hand shrinker stretcher from Harbor Freight to do a job in minutes versus tuck shrinking it, on a 1/4-inch lip. It's going to drive you up the wall.
What kind of shocks do you use? Do you ever use digressive shocks?
What was the name?
What? Digressive.
Usually I just use QA1 shocks. I like QA1 coilovers and just standard gas shocks.
Any plans for the 60 wagon?
The wagon's gone. I traded the wagon a while back for the unibody, and that's actually outside because I had to move it to get the GT out. The wagon was just big, and it took up a lot of real estate. So that was the big thing, is it was just big.
Yeah, when we posted that short, I think we got a ton of new followers and stuff.
Yeah.
And
yeah, the bad news is, I'm probably gonna break your guys' heart. So the deal was, when I traded that car, the guy, he said he wasn't gonna change anything on it. He was an Air Force guy, loved it, wasn't gonna change anything. It was like 3 weeks later, he pulled the Y block out and put an injected 302 out of a Mustang and a 5-speed in it, put some knockoff racing buckets in it, he painted it like baby blue, put 18-inch torque thrusts on it, just destroyed the car. I was a little aggravated, like I know it's not my car anymore and I can't say anything, but the guy just ruined such a really neat piece of history, and he just lied to my face about not wanting to change anything, which him lying to my face was more aggravating than anything. Because it would have been different if he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to redo everything. Okay, fair enough. But it's like he lied to me to get the deal done. And what he lied about on the unibody is a whole different story.
Good evening, Mike and Dom. That's from Don Key, one of our members.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so like this is a big electric shrinker stretcher for the guys that haven't seen it before. So yeah, like here, if we wanted to shrink this with the foot shrinker, you can come in and you can feel what it's doing. You can feel the resistance. So, the harder you push, you can feel the metal moving. But if we fire the electric one up, and I'll run it low. So, this is low speed, and if we want it to go faster, there's high speed, but we'll run it in low speed. But here, I can't really, the machine is set, it's a fixed stroke, I've got the height adjusted. So here, I can't feel what it's doing, it just wants to shrink. So that's why sometimes I like the foot operated, sometimes I like the electric if I'm really trying to move something a lot. And it doesn't always have to be this big. I mean, they make an air over it's an air over hydraulic for these. But again, I don't like it because you can't feel it. So if I'm really trying to do something intricate and I need to have a little bit of finesse, that's where I like these. And the big ones will do, like this one, I think it'll do 1/8-inch steel plate. We did some 14 gauge steel and it didn't seem to phase it. So that'll be good for like frame component type stuff.
No other questions right now,
yeah.
But I'm sure we'll find something to talk about.
Yeah, so on my schedule for this month, let's see. This week I'm working on this taillight some more. I'm going to try to get that bucket finalized, get it all tacked in. Yeah, so I got to finish the passenger taillight bucket, make the driver's side taillight bucket, finish planishing the quarter sections, and I'm going to turn the trunk opening flanges. So like where I'd left this little bit of material long, I'm going to come in and locate where I want it and turn those edges. That's this week. Next week I'm going to be back on the Eubanks Mustang. Unless that job comes in with a bunch of bending, I might have to knock that out. So we'll just see how next week progresses. And then the following week, I will be down in Atlanta, Georgia at Fuller Moto. We're going to be doing a 1-week car build. Chip Foose will be there. Tom Speed will be there. I'll be there. Chris Rush. There's going to be a lot of really good guys, and we're going to essentially try to build a car or the body in a week. So there's going to be a lot going on with that. And I think there's a media portal, so that'll be good for you. You can log in and pull a lot of the media out for our use. Okay. So we won't have a live that Monday, which will be the 17th, I believe.
I don't know if we'll have a video either.
Okay.
Maybe. I mean, if we can record something, that'd be great. I know we want to do another questions video that we get from comments.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll try to have a video that week. If not, we'll just see what we can do. And then I come back, and then I'll be back on the Mack truck fenders towards the end of the month. So right now, I don't have any extra stuff. Like I know we've talked a little bit about my scheduling, but this is like the upper part of the chalkboard is usually client cars that are in here, and then I come down and I put an asterisk with like frame rails, roof inserts, store skins, that kind of stuff that comes in, and I try to schedule it amongst the other work. So luckily, it's the beginning of the month, and I don't have any of that stuff yet.
Why the kick shrinker is adjustable?
What was that?
Why the kick shrinker is adjustable?
Why is it adjustable? That way you can adjust the tension on it. If you want a lot more shrink, you can adjust that up. That way you've got a longer range of motion with your leg. So it just allows you to fine tune how much shrink or stretch you're getting.
Hey, Mike, what happened to the podcast? Are you giving it another go? Love the inside stories from other fabricators, also the business side of things.
The podcast, it sounds bad, but the podcast is the low man on the totem pole. We just have so much stuff going on right now between working in the shop, traveling, getting stuff ready for Bonneville, and El Mirage, and everything that's in the shop, plus what I don't know about that's coming into the shop, and then we're doing the weekly videos, the lives on Mondays, shorts, and then we're doing reels, regular Facebook posts, Instagram posts, TikTok posts, and I know we're forgetting some other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, off the clock when we have.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much stuff going on, and like the podcast takes a lot of time and it costs money. Like, I have to host the podcast and it's not paying for itself. So it's just one of those things that if I have time, I'll get to it, but now I'm just running kind of ragged. If things ever slow down a little bit and I get things under control, maybe we'll get back to it. And it's just tough because it's having to get me ready, Noah ready, and a guest if we have a guest, and speaking points, and we don't always get questions. There's just a lot of moving parts to the podcast, and it's, like I said, kind of the low man on the totem pole at this point.
What's the unibody you traded for the wagon?
It's a 61 unibody. It's still daylight. We can go outside.
It is. I know. That's amazing.
I know.
And it's warm.
It's still daylight, and it's 63 degrees today.
It's so nice.
Yep, so I traded the wagon for a 61 unibody. It also has a Y block in it. It's a 3-speed automatic, so Jamie, the boss, can drive it. And we had Dan Shaw put on the T&W engineering.
When you showed me this, because I asked Mike, what does T&W stand for?
Yeah.
That'll never work. And then he showed me the logo on the side of the door.
Yeah, is it 3 pipes or 2 pipes? So, yeah, that's a big running joke. Like when I was working on the Streamliner and the red car, a lot of the stuff I was doing, I had a lot of haters in the comment section. Well, that'll never work, and this will never work, and why are you doing that? Because that's not going to work. So T&W Engineering was born, and that'll never work engineering. So, yep.
How do you know so many people around the world?
I don't know. Mainly social media has kind of brought us all together. I have no clue. It just kind of happens.
I guess for everyone.
Yeah. Grom gang.
Those dang Groms.
Yeah.
I really wanted a Grom, and I sat on one, and they are really uncomfortable.
Yeah, they are. So the funny thing is when Gene went to California with me to Grand National Roadster Show, it was February, and he had me drive him an hour into downtown Los Angeles and just drop him off, and he bought a Grom. And he was like riding a Grom like on the highways. And I'm like, you're an idiot. But he survived.
I don't know about in Los Angeles.
Yeah, just don't trip over anything.
Yeah, trying to walk backwards. When your customers put inserts in, When your customers put your inserts in from aluminum into a steel body, what rod do they use to make the connection?
They're not going to weld those in. Usually aluminum inserts are either going to be like quarter turned, like Zeus fastened in, or what I like to do is I'll build a steel frame like at an angle, so it'll come up and be bent over, and then I'll wrap it like a door skin, and I can make that steel frame bolt in. You just posted a short of me hemming a roof insert to one of those steel inner structures. Mm-hmm. I like the look of the aluminum and the fact that you don't have to paint it, but then it can bolt in with a seal, and it's got that nice aluminum look, but you don't have, like, you're never going to be able to weld aluminum to steel. Like, that's just not going to happen. The closest thing you could do would be like an epoxy, like a weld bond glue, but I don't recommend gluing stuff. So if you wanted it welded in for smooth roof, just get a steel one. I like aluminum, so I try to find ways to make them go in, and aluminum's race car stuff. So that's why I do a lot of stuff that's Zeus fastened in.
Hey, rust is a weight reduction. After moving oil canning from a roof with heat shrinking, cold hold the work hardening of the metal cause paint to crack over time? There might
No.
be.
Yeah, it could work hardening cause it to crack? It shouldn't. You're really not going to work harden it all that much. I actually talked to somebody about work hardening today. It will get a little bit harder, but it's not gonna allow, or it's not gonna allow the paint to stick. I've never had that becoming an issue because most of the time whoever paints it is going to want to get a mechanical bond, so they're going to hit it with 36 grit on a DA to rough it up, and that'll give you a little bit of bite. But no, you shouldn't have an issue with that. Not saying it couldn't happen, but you shouldn't.
I can't work it out. I have painted the roof 3 times now. I'm about to make a whole new roof. That's from the oil canning and heat shrinking.
Yeah.
Work hardening.
Yeah, I don't think I wouldn't think that that's your problem. There's just a lot that could go into that. Like, make sure that you're giving yourself a good mechanical bond, and make sure, like, I don't paint cars anymore, but when I did, what I would do is I would DA everything with at least 80 grit, clean it, and then I would epoxy, two-part epoxy it, and then I would do all my body work on top of that, and then I would 2-part epoxy it again, and then I would do the final body work and high build prime on top of that. The epoxy should bite into your bare metal, and then it'll lock in all your filler work in between, so it's not going to come apart. So just make sure that you have something to bite into that, mechanically and chemically. So you want a good, like I used, what was it? I don't remember what it was now. It's been so long since I painted something. But yeah, like it wasn't house brand epoxy. It was top of the line, 2-part epoxy for bare metal.
Mike, do you know Josh Bulach? He answered some Power Hammer questions for me and seemed like a good guy. I'm also excited for the 1-week build collaboration. Good luck with that.
Yeah, Josh Bullock at True Metal Shaping. I think that's, yeah. I haven't talked to Josh a whole lot. Like, we've communicated on social media, and I think I saw him at SEMA 1 year and Grand National 1 year. So he's a really good guy. I really look up to him. I think he's one of the best metal shapers kind of out there right now. He does some phenomenal work. So yeah, he's a good guy for sure.
Metal Art Custom said, panel bond lets loose after a few years.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't do anything with panel bond, but that's always an option.
Do you or have you done much metal forming in sheet stainless steel?
No, I hate stainless. It just sucks to work with. I've had to do some stainless trim and some other parts to repair. I stay away from it when I can. It's just a pain.
That's all our questions for right now. But
cool. Yeah, we still got 25 minutes. So we've got that, and yeah.
Are you showing the race trailer? Or
we'll save that for another night when we actually have it out and it's not muddy and the batteries are charged up.
Yeah. Most challenging job, in parentheses, that's not, part of job you have in the shop right now.
What was it, the most challenging?
Yeah, what's the most challenging job you have in the shop right now?
Everyone's challenging. Like, I think we've had this discussion before. While I'm doing it, everything is super challenging. And then after it's done, it kind of, you look back on it, you're like, oh, that wasn't nearly as bad as I made it out to be. But you're going to run into all kinds of stuff. Like today, what did I do today? Last week when I was making that 35-36 roof insert in steel. That was the toughest thing I'd done in a while because it was a big, heavy panel. Even though I've done numerous of them, my arms hurt while I was doing it, so it sucked. And now it's not so bad. And like doing the taillight kind of sucked the other day. And then once you get done with it, it's not that bad. None of it's easy when you're doing it. And like, this was a big challenge, this area here. We talked about it before because there's so much going on. You've got this little bit of a reverse here, which is a lot of forming, and then you've got a reverse here and a reverse here, all to bring this together. So getting it to flow right was pretty tricky, and it still needs some cleanup, which I'm not looking forward to. But it's kind of is what it is.
I once sat in my dad's truck for a marketplace deal for 8 hours. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But looking back at it, not bad. Got to hang out with my dad.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And like same thing, like working on the race car, like it took me 3 hours to figure out where I wanted to put the dry sump tank and how I wanted it oriented to where I could get all the fittings on, all the lines on, everything to go where I wanted. And same thing, I spent another 2 hours just trying to figure out where I wanted to put the fuel pump, not even designing bracketry. So everything is going to be a challenge, especially when you think things completely through. Like on the race car, you know, it's not just like, I want to put the oil tank here. You know, I want to put the oil tank here, but how's it going to vent? How's the crankcase going to fit into it? Where's our inlet and our outlet? How's all this stuff going to work together and not cause problems elsewhere? So you have to work through the entire process and the entire system. So that kind of stuff really gets challenging.
I don't know if this is right, but if you ever need to drill stainless, you can use cream or whole milk. It drills like aluminum.
I've never heard that before.
We need to try that out.
Yeah?
We should try that. Yes, I've done it all with paint procedures correctly, starting with 80 grit and 2-pack ProTech epoxy primer. I've restored around 20 cars and never had this problem.
Yeah, I'm not sure then. Like, who knows?
Does aluminum shaping have different challenges than steel?
The actual shaping process, no. The biggest difference is if you're not familiar with welding aluminum, the welding process is just a little bit different. And some people seem to struggle with aluminum welding. I prefer to work in aluminum if I can, but the shaping process is the same. The panel's just a little bit lighter and it moves a little bit faster.
What's the best way to keep my cast iron's tabletop from rusting? Cast iron saw tabletop.
I mean, you could get like Gibbs oil. Gibbs oil is really good stuff. It's just expensive. Like I used to use Gibbs instead of the ATF mineral spirits that we used, but that stuff's like $100 a gallon. So it got really expensive really quick. It's like a rubbing alcohol based type oil. It was designed by the military for guns. So you can get it in a spray can now, but Gibbs works really, really well. And it doesn't like affect paint. They claim you can paint over it after it cures. But yeah, check out Gibbs oil. It works really well.
Tim says he has a problem and then didn't say what his problem was.
Yeah, well, hopefully
Hopefully he finds out what.
Yeah, let us know if we can help you with your problem or.
Lazy Racing T9 BO Shield. That's from if you need to drill stainless. I don't know. Custom work is 9% thinking about it and how you're going to do it, and 10% of actually doing it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like everything, you know, setup and layout is critical. It usually takes way longer to do all the preparation before you even shape anything. And then you just get to, I don't know, that last 10% of finishing is 95% of the work, but that's a whole different discussion.
What are those sawtooth things on the Mustang? Are the Clecos?
Yeah, these what you're talking about, the Clecos? So I've got the Clecos in there holding the outer wheelhouse in place. They're just temporary fasteners if you don't know what a Cleco is. They're derived from aircraft work. You drill a 1/8-inch pilot hole and then you can use the Cleco pliers to insert the Cleco and you can reuse it forever.
Engine storage oil is cheap and works really good for cast iron. Antifreeze works good for drilling stainless too. T9 BO Shield will stop the rust from cast iron and won't leave an oily film. Are you going to Cornfield this year?
Yep, and I mean, unless something crazy happens, that's the plan. We're planning on running the red car. The white car, I doubt, is going to be done. There's just, the deeper I dive, the more expensive everything keeps getting, and yeah, it could happen, but I don't know. And I think I worked out a deal on that 61 MGA. So hopefully in the next few weeks, we can get that deal finalized. I don't know if I'm going to go out to California and pick it up before El Mirage in May, or if I'm going to fly out and get the car prepped and then drive out to El Mirage, race it, and then bring it home.
Yeah. Drive it on the highway home.
No. No. I mean, it'll be trailer. I'm not driving that thing that far.
It's like, that's all the stuff we have right now.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm really excited about potentially getting that MGA.
What is the stats on it again?
It's a 61 MGA. It's right-hand drive, but it has a supercharged Ford Coyote engine in it and a 6-speed manual transmission. He went, the guy that currently owns it, he went 195 with a burned out clutch and the steering was all messed up. So it's got a new racing clutch in it and the steering's fixed. So we're hoping to set some records with it this year if all goes well. But I have to learn how to drive a manual transmission with my left hand. So that's going to be really fun.
Don, he asked about the Clicos. He said, sorry from a distance. I couldn't tell what they were at all.
Okay.
That's all right. I don't know. I wonder from the live view. Like, I would say you could see kind of clear, but
yeah,
I mean, it's still.
Yeah. But it depends on what he's watching on, too.
Yeah. If you're on TV, then it's hard to see.
Yeah.
That's all we have for now.
Yeah. But, yeah, everything just keeps getting busier and busier. So, I mean, that's good and bad. I'd like it to slow down a little bit, but not much we can do about it.
That's like me working on stuff is Mike's busy and I'm busy. So it makes it hard to do anything.
Yeah. And I got a message about it. I'm going to be one of those people and I'm probably going to show you. I'll show you a picture on a picture. So got a picture from the machinist. There is the radius gauge number 2 we talked about last week. So hopefully we'll have some engraved ones next week or later this week for sale. We are going to do a class giveaway, kind of like we did in years past. But this time I think I'm going to give away like 4, 5, maybe 6 classes. So it'll be similar to how we did it in the past. For every $25 you spend, it'll get you 1 entry or an additional entry into the drawing for classes. You'll be able to sign up for free by joining the mailing list if you haven't done so already. Yeah, so you buy a t-shirt, you get an extra entry into the drawing, and we'll give away 6 classes. And that'll be like 6 first place awards. And I think we're going to give away some t-shirts and some hats as well for like 2nd, 3rd place. So keep an eye out for that. Hopefully in the next couple weeks, we'll be announcing when that class runs start to finish.
I'm a little biased, but I really like going to the class, and I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I like doing the classes. A lot of people, we've had a lot of people come in through classes. I think I've been doing them for like 11 years now. So we've had lots of students, and yeah, if you guys want to take a class, like I said, we're going to be doing some giveaways here this year. It's really cool because, I mean, you could buy a t-shirt and for $25 and win an $800 class, you know, and then all you got to do is get here. So those are always fun. And on the newsletter, if you guys haven't signed up for the newsletter yet, go ahead and sign up. Or if you want to wait till we do the giveaway, that's fine too. But we had 2 people email us today, readers' rides. So that's exciting.
Awesome.
So if you haven't seen the newsletter yet, we're going to do like a reader's ride section where you can send in pictures and a description of your project. We'll put it in the newsletter. Currently, I think we're reaching 500 people a month. So nothing super crazy, but I think it's kind of neat to be able to share your guys' projects with everybody that follows along here. So it's exciting that we've got multiples for the next couple months. So yeah, if you want to send that in, we can get you scheduled to be in the monthly newsletter.
How many employees do you have?
So Dom is pretty much it, and you're more the media guy.
Yeah, I'm not even really an employee. I'm doing this for school, but I help out.
Yeah.
Could a complete dummy take your class and learn from it?
Yeah.
As long as they are motivated?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, we've had, first off, we'll finish up about the employees. Yeah, so I have no employees out in the shop helping me. You know, if Dom's here and I need a hand, I can grab him, or I do have a couple friends that come over and lend me a hand when I need it. But no real employees. It's just me out in the shop. So hopefully that answers that question pretty thoroughly. But as far as the classes go, there is no experience necessary. It's an entry-level class. We've had people that had never even held a hammer before, and they just thought it was interesting. They just wanted to take it and learn about it, and they never wanted to pursue it. They just thought it was an interesting thing to learn about. So yeah, I mean, as long as As long as you come in with an open mind and you're willing to listen, that's all that matters. I don't expect everybody to turn into a metal shaper and open a shop, but I think if you have a better understanding of what goes into all this stuff, it could help even if you're like a potential client of another shop. That way it's like, man, why does this take so long? And then you get to do it hands-on. You can understand why it takes so long.
Do you have any other metal shaping tools on your bucket list to acquire?
The only thing that I know that I want is I'd like to find an Urco flanging machine, which are really tough. We've talked about it before, and I do know that Chris Davenport at Davenport Machine was making replicas. I don't think he makes them anymore, and they're still really expensive. So I'm cheap. I don't like to spend money if I can avoid it. So I'm just kind of waiting. I'm waiting on that holy grail to present itself. And, I get the find of a lifetime on a flanging machine. So that's kind of what I'm after. But other than that, I think I've got most everything I want.
Rico's Rides, one of our members. Class was super cool, definitely valuable for noobs like me, and really experienced guys alike.
Yeah, and thanks for coming in. I don't know if you were here last week, but thanks for the Clecos. He sent me some Edge Clecos, which are pretty cool. So thanks for sending those in, and thanks again for taking the class.
Mike, I run a one-man show like you. How many hours a week are you able to bill out on average with doing office stuff and dealing with customers, parts, etc.?
Billable, it's kind of great because I've got so many irons and so many fires. Actual billable hours to a client that has a long-term project in here, 30, 35, sometimes I can get 40, but I would just say average about 30 hours. But I'm also doing a bunch of tube bending a week. So if you take that into consideration, I am billing 40 to 50 hours a week. But I'm here a lot more than that. Like Monday through Friday, I'm here from 7:30-ish till 6. And then I'm here Saturdays and Sunday from 7:30 to about 3 or 4 o'clock. But usually after 5 o'clock and on weekends, I'm on my own stuff. So I work to be able to play on my stuff. I kind of fell into that a few years ago, that I've been working so hard for so many years. It was time for me to reap the benefits of the hard work.
When is the last time the newsletter went out? I signed up for it. I just want to make sure I haven't missed it.
It went out, what day is today? The 3rd?
Believe.
You should have got it Saturday, February 1st at 1 o'clock. It comes out the 1st of the month, and then it targets whatever the day of the week is for the best time to launch it. And I think it was 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday, so you should have it. I checked it this morning, and it said all of them had went out, but 6 of them had been bounced back. So if you don't have it, let me know. Shoot me an email, and I can send it directly to you. I don't know if you got January's or not, but just make sure that that your spam folder didn't kick it back or something, because I think it did say we had a few that were kicked back by like ad blockers or spam blockers in your email.
Has any progress been made on the white land speed car since last video?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it. We can go back there again. Yep. Gas pedals in. I redid the brake pedal assembly. Dry sump tank is in. Engine and transmission are mounted.
Fuel pump?
Fuel pump, I have an idea where I want to put it. Intake is ordered and on the way. Racing header is ordered and on the way. Throttle body, fuel rails, those are on the way. Started routing some hoses. Strut rods for the intercooler. I made those. Yeah, engine transmission mounted. Seat is mounted. Seat belts are mounted. Yeah, so next week I'm going to try to get both water tanks mounted. That's the goal. Yeah, I really like this little the little casting on the gas pedal mount.
Gas pedal's right there.
Yep. So, yeah, just a bunch of little stuff. Like I said, over the weekend, it was just a bunch of sitting around and thinking, like, with getting this mounted, like, where do I want to put it height-wise? If I put it down here, how do I want to rotate it? Where do I want to do that? Do I want to put it here? Do I want to put it inside? Just spent a lot of time mentally mapping this out to try to get everything dialed in. which, yeah, lots going into that.
There we go. Do you know Lazy Metal Shaping? I got my
Lazy? I don't personally know him. I know who he is. I've seen some of his stuff way back when, and I know a lot of people that have taken his classes, but I don't personally know him.
Finally getting to watch this and not stuck at the shop at work.
Yeah, well, thanks for tuning in. And like I said a little bit ago, I think it was just a mention. Got the GT out yesterday because it was super nice. I think I took it out yesterday at 3 o'clock and got back at like 5:30. So we put about 100 miles on it. Drove all around town, and figured it had been sitting for a while and cleaned some of the cobwebs out of it. And I ran about a half tank of gas through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we just need to get the Daytona out.
You do.
Yeah, because you haven't ridden in the Daytona yet.
I haven't.
Yeah, I don't know if you'll like it as much as the GT.
You know what's kind of funny is I remember seeing this car like I don't know, I was like 7.
Yeah.
Or I was really young. I remember seeing this car. I forget where, but I just remember seeing it. And I'm like, whoa, that's a Daytona.
Yeah. Yeah, and then it just hides here.
Mm-hmm. Hey guys, asked this last week. This is from Alex. He's one of our members too. Asked this last
Welding
week.
with the keyhole, right?
The keyhole. Yes.
Yep. I don't have a good example, but we can draw it on the table. So we still have diagrams. So like when your weld seam is here, we'll just say that that's your weld seam. And there's your panel. And there's your panel. As you're welding down, what the keyhole is going to do is it's going to burn a little bit of a hole like that. And it looks like a keyhole. So you'll see that open up as you've got your weld like so. And right here, it's just going to open up with a little bit of a hole, and that's when you dab the filler in, and that closes the keyhole, and then you move forward, and then the keyhole, you dab it, and you just repeat that process. So hopefully that's a little bit better of an understanding, but that's how you're ensuring you're getting 110% penetration. If you never see that keyhole open up, you don't know if it's going all the way through. So you want to see that just start to open up a little bit, burning through, and then you can add the filler, and that that's going to close it up. So it's kind of tough to describe unless you've seen it. But yeah, just give it a try. Maybe watch. There's tons of welding videos out here on YouTube. Just check out some TIG welding stuff, and they might talk about watching the keyhole open up and putting your filler in there.
Did you go to a welding school, or were you self-taught or raised in it?
I was not raised in it. I took metal shop my freshman and sophomore year of high school, and I could MIG and stick, and then I could run a milling machine, a lathe, and other shop stuff from metal shop. And I went to the local vocational school where Dom goes, and mainly I went there just to learn how to TIG weld. I wanted to learn how to weld aluminum. I don't know why that's what I was fascinated by, but that's all I wanted. And I used all of my advantages there. I would stay after school, so school would let out, 2 o'clock, and they'd have to kick me out at 8 o'clock at night. I'd just stay after school, and I'd sit in the welding booth and practice and practice and practice and practice. I did have to do some machining there as well, a lot of manual stuff. So more lathe, mill work, saw work, and that's how I got my education in like running machine tools. But I did have 2 full years of welding, and that was the most extensive education I have on anything.
Yeah, I'm taking CNC machining, but I wish they had engine machining because I'm more interested in doing engine machining than like making a part for an airplane.
Yeah.
But I still like what I learned, and I know how to use a lathe now, so I'm happy. Do you ever use spool guns on aluminum for any of your projects?
Nope. I don't use the MIG gun here much at all. I think the last thing I MIG welded was on the trailer that broke the world. But I hate MIG, so I TIG weld everything. I used to, like in high school, I apprenticed in a shop doing a lot of spool gun aluminum. It's just not my thing. I don't like weld splatter, and I don't like the smoke it puts off. It's just real dirty. But yep, just not something I do around here.
By keyhole, do you mean puddle/pool?
Well, you'll have the puddle, but you'll see at the very front of the puddle. Again, I wish I could draw this better, but like this will be your puddle here, and this is your weld seam. You'll see the edge is wet, and start to fall away. It'll look like a little bit of a keyhole just in front of the puddle. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Tracy's hitting on you.
Oh, I didn't see that. I was looking at the keyhole one.
No, below it.
Oh, thanks. That's weird. I'll have to tell the boss lady that she better watch herself.
We have 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we got 5 minutes to go. Make sure you get those questions in. Yeah, I'm excited with doing the new radius gauges, radius gauge number 2, when it comes out this week. I'm hoping the machinist can get back onto the mini CP tool holder. I know he's been working on those for a while, and the new wedge lock T-dolly post setup. He's been working on that for a while too. So hopefully in the next few weeks, we got a lot of new products coming out for you guys that I've been working on, he's been working on, and trying to get everything together for that. So yeah, keep an eye out for all that stuff. When they come in, I'm sure we'll talk about it on the live feeds, unless it starts coming in when I'm in Georgia. So,
what's your preferred method of riveting?
I really don't have a preferred method of riveting.
Well, you know, you make a lot of airplanes out here, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have. And
oh, yeah, actually.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times, like, so I don't do any of the final riveting on airplane stuff. I let that be the end user because it usually has to be done by an AMP. So I just make the panels and they rivet them on. A lot of times, I'll just use a hand bucking bar and a rivet gun with a rivet set tool.
Why do they use rivets? Is it just so it's easier to take on and off? Or?
No, because it has to be able to flex.
Okay.
So the rivet allows it to flex a little bit. If you weld everything, that can create extra tension and tightness and metal fatigue. So rivets just allow that little bit of flex in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like why cars are bolted together, not usually welded together.
Yeah.
And you have warping and all that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all the questions for right now.
Yeah. We only got a few minutes left, so make sure to get them in. I don't know. Do we have a video coming out this week? I'm sure we'll come up with something.
We're coming up with some. We haven't had anything yet.
Yeah.
I know. I want to make that one video.
Oh, the questions.
That'd be really easy.
Yep.
But Mike thought of something last week, so.
Yeah. Yeah. We're always kind of last minute on the video thing.
I have a couple part 2 videos.
Yeah.
I can shoot. So, what would be your first tool? What would be your first tool to recommend buying if someone wants to start metal work at home?
If you have absolutely no tools, get yourself a Martin hammer. This is my go-to Martin hammer. And get you, like, this is my go-to Martin dolly. Get you these 2 things. This will teach you a lot. So, because even if you have every power tool known to man, you're still going to come back and finish stuff out by hand.
Also, probably a vise. Vise would be handy.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't necessarily need one.
Yeah. Do you planish in between set of shrinks in your videos? Sometimes you do multiple sets of shrinks and planish at the very end. Sometimes you blend out between sets.
It depends on what I'm trying to do. Like if I know that I have a whole bunch of shrinking to do, I'll do the majority of that and then I'll blend it and I'll test it. If it's something that doesn't get a lot of shrink, I test it more as I go. It just depends on the part. Most of the time I'll do one or 2 full sets of shrinking, blend it out, check it to see how close I am, and then repeat that process. A lot of times in the video, some of that stuff gets cut out just because it tends to get tedious and boring.
Yeah, if you guys want to see more in-depth videos, I mean, I try to leave everything in the video that I can, but if it's you doing the same thing over and over and over, it doesn't make sense to leave it in there.
And the best way, I think this is where you were going with that, and the best way is if you want to see something, drop us a comment, say, please do a video on X, Y, and Z, or please do more in-depth on topic A, because we don't know what you guys want to see unless you tell us what you want to see. So definitely drop a comment and say, hey, I'd like to see more of this specifically, and we can do our best to get to that. It might not be right away, because if you're like, hey, I want to see you doing a crazy wheel well out of aluminum, you'll have to wait till we do a crazy wheel well out of aluminum, but at least then we know that you want to see certain parts of that. So just drop in the comment section and let us know.
I know people want to see you do, how do you make a frame?
Yeah.
But you don't usually make, I mean, you bend frames, but you're not
Yeah.
going under the car, measuring, and all that.
Yeah. So, and that's the other thing is we can only do what we're already doing in the shop. Like I can't completely stop production. Another one, like show us how to do that with a hand tool. Can I do it with hand tools? Yes, but if I'm working on a client car, I need to be efficient and use the power equipment. That's why I have it, is to be efficient and make money. So I can't just say, okay, on this one, instead of using the power hammer, we're going to do it all with a tucking fork. So there is that little bit of disconnect there we'll have to work through.
Are you still bending custom frame rails?
Yep, we still bend custom frame rails weekly. Yep, so there's some custom orders, and I got 2 emails today of more custom stuff. And tomorrow morning, I'm getting a fresh 40 sticks of the 2x4 120 wall, and I think later this week, I'm going to get 80 sticks of 2x4 188 wall for that big bending job we got coming up.
Gas welding would be cool if you're down for it.
Yeah, I don't do a lot of gas welding, so that's one of those things that I've done a little bit of it, but it's not something I do here, so we really can't do a lot of videos on it.
When trying to weld TIG aluminum, I could never see a puddle until the aluminum falls out. The aluminum kind of turns into a chalky looking just before it falls out.
Yeah, so the big thing is check into getting a good hood. Like I just got a new Miller, what do they call it? True Vision.
It's back there.
Yeah. And like I never had a problem seeing the aluminum puddle. I don't know if it says on here what it is. I just threw the box away. But it's like one of their new, it's a Digital Infinity Clear Light 2.0. This thing, you can see the aluminum puddle like nobody's business. Like I'd never struggled to see it, but this is like, look at me, I'm a welding puddle. Like it's, so make sure you've got a really good hood, and that'll help you see that puddle that much better. Because it's just way more reflective, and it's way clearer to see the aluminum puddles.
It'd be cool to see a video of you replacing a quarter panel and taking measurements to make sure the replacement panel is perfectly lined up.
Yeah.
I think, don't you have one on the Model A?
Yeah, but we made that one.
Yeah.
So I have to make the other one, because we're about out of time, right?
Yeah,
we're running over. Yeah, so like when I go to put the other quarter on, like that's where your pattern comes in. Your pattern's going to give you all that information. But if you're talking like a quarter panel replacement, like say on the Mustang, I'm not really a panel replacer. Usually it's custom making the panels and the parts. So I just don't do a lot of, let's put a new quarter panel on a Honda Civic or a Mustang. So if that ever comes up, I could swap the quarter, but it's just not something I do very often. I can't remember the last time I put a quarter panel on a car, other than making the Model A ones.
I need to replace the bottom, like near the rocker, in the back of my Miata. So maybe when I buy an ECU and all that, I'll drive it over and I'll buy a panel, and you can show me how to weld it then.
Yeah, just buy a whole new quarter. It'll be easier.
It's only like a little, like it's only like this big. Like.
Yeah, but it'll be way easier to put a quarter on that thing.
All right.
Yeah, we're getting ready to wrap it up, so get those last minute questions in.
Website for order? To like order stuff?
Cornfieldcustomsltd.store. That'll take you directly to the web store, and you can check out all the great products we've got on there. Make sure you check out the socks. We haven't sold very many, but everybody that's got them really seems to like them.
2 questions. That's it. Is the trailer that broke the world done?
Nope. It's still hanging out. It's just like the podcast. It's the low man on the totem pole.
You can barely see it, but it's all the way back there.
Yep. Yeah, I'd rather build race cars than a trailer. So eventually I'll get back on it. I'm tired of it sitting on the lift, but I've got higher priority items I want to knock out before it's finished.
What is your material budgets on these jobs? Like how much you spend on sheet metal and tubing?
There's not a real budget. It's as much as we need. Everything's different. Like this Indy car would have a much higher tubing budget than the Model A. So each one's going to be completely different, and it just takes what it takes. We don't figure out that budget ahead of time. It's just, okay, this month we use 2 sheets of steel. They get charged for 2 sheets of steel.
All right, guys. Oh, Dennis said nice hat.
Yeah, thanks. So I like this. This one's my favorite hat.
You can buy it at the store.
Yeah, and yeah. I think I'm wearing my socks too.
And some socks.
Yeah, look at that. Cornfield socks. So,
And a hoodie.
Yeah, I forgot I'm wearing a hoodie. We got a hoodie.
Yeah, we got a bunch of stuff. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next Monday.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah,
Tuesday, and you'll see us. But next Monday is our next, well,
Yeah, I'll be here then.
Yeah, you'll be here. So.
Yep, so get those questions in. If you can't wait, drop down in the comment section, ask them on here and we'll answer. And yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, so thanks for watching and we will catch you next Monday at 5 o'clock.